President-elect Donald Trump is celebrating his dominant election win on social media. He posted this picture of his signed Pennsylvania Electoral College ballot yesterday, writing, "Our big Pennsylvania win, so nice." And Trump didn't just win Pennsylvania. He won all 7 swing states and more than 300 electoral votes, leading to a massive victory. And, of course, the popular vote. Now, just weeks later, a coalition of Democratic senators are looking to change our Constitution and abolish the Electoral College. Their proposed amendment reads in part, "In an election, the person who gets the most votes should win. It's that simple. No one's vote should count more based on where they live. The Electoral College is outdated and it's undemocratic. It's time to end it." And Democratic New York Governor Kathy Hochul is already signaling her support.
Unfairly less populated states have outsized influence, and in fact, the votes of their residents count more than the residents of a state like New York. Consider that a single elector in Wyoming, no offense to Wyoming, represents 200,000 residents, and in New York, an elector like you represent 700,000. It's time to amend the Constitution and relegate the institution of the Electoral College to the history books.
This is how I know they're sore losers and they're liars. These are the people who gave us the superdelegates.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, they didn't just want delegates. They wanted delegates to wear capes.
And then rig their own primary twice. And then, of course, threw out the guy that won the primary and replaced it with somebody else because they thought that maybe she would do better, and she didn't. I think that Democrats should be very careful about this. I think that this is a short-term partisan attack on the Constitution in a way that may backfire in ways that they can't foresee. Yeah. The founders recognized the importance of giving states the power, because, and it's really important, and it was very prescient, because if you look fast forward to today, the reason they wanted the states to have this power is because they were worried that the federal government wouldn't have a check on it. And the reason that states have this power is because they're the only entity in our government that can stand up to the federal government. And my worry, the consequences of doing something, I don't think it's doable, and I don't think they'll succeed, but the consequences would be disastrous, and I think it would also probably hurt them in ways that they can't foresee.
Kennedy, do we want the people who literally could not figure out not to close down everything and lock us down in COVID, to then be able to cut out the rights of voters that were foundationally carved for states? Do we want them to do that?
No, we don't, and everyone knows that, and that's why it's so difficult. That's why the process was designed to be difficult to amend the Constitution, because it had to do something that would have long-lasting ramifications that we could agree on as a society, and all it would take is for a Republican to win the popular vote and a Democrat to win the electoral vote, and then they would completely switch course, which will probably happen because our politics are only going to get weirder and weirder as the two parties sort of age out their Humpty Dumptys like Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi, who can't stay upright. So a newer generation of people is going to come forward, and they're going to appeal to voters in different ways. And so everything will continue to get flipped on its head. The Constitution should not be one of those things. And you're also going to ignore everyone in the middle. So that means presidential hopefuls will only be campaigning in New York, California, Texas, and Florida. And they're basically saying, suck it, Iowa.
Wow. Right now, aren't all of those sanctuary cities?
I mean, they're in
states, I should say.
They're spreading like scarlet fever.
Oh, my goodness. All right. And in her lovely scarlet fever, like oxblood skirt, Rosanna Scott.
So this is what I have to say, Harris. You know, Governor Hochul has so many problems in New York City and in the state. It's kind of interesting that she's talking about this. Her administration did a redrawing of the congressional maps, okay, which was overturned. Okay, and then Nancy Pelosi basically blamed her for losing congressional seats and messing up everything in D.C. So I don't know. Does Governor Hochul really have any weight when she comes out and talks about electoral votes? I'm not really sure.
That was such a great lead up. Just like, wow.
Yeah, it's perfect. Look, nothing is more rich than these Democratic individuals saying that the current state is undemocratic when they removed the duly elected candidate for their own party for the presidency and expected everyone to just sit back and swallow it. And you're exactly right. What they are indeed telling the other states, as Hochul said, no offense to Wyoming, no, actually offense taken. That's exactly what you are projecting, is an elite smugness for the volume of your population, by the way, is fleeing to sunnier, warmer, more business-friendly states. The reality is every single one of their constituents should take note that that is how their representatives spending their time. And I am one of them. So, Governor Hochul, to your point, exactly, there are a million issues just on this block that she should be addressing. And she should stop, again, getting onto the caboose of what they think will earn them. I think it's strokes in Congress, because there is no way that any valid member of a constituency actually wants their representative to be doing this right now versus actually legislating, or more aptly, upending legislation.
That's right.
Maybe a stay coupon at the Roosevelt Hotel for her. She can check out the
that
border
might
crisis.
be interesting.
Bring your mace.